Okay, guys. So first, did you all commit on the rule call issue? Of course not. I have only 13. That means 2 people are missing. Please commit on the rule call issue. Second one, I just open your repo here inside inside study lenses. Maybe I can explain first. Should I start with the project, which is a counter, or should I start with this exercise? What do you prefer? Yeah.
Exercise?
Exercise first. Good. So now we have something called skip character. Okay. Now, what is a skip character? What is the idea of skipping character? So the idea of skipping character, let's say I have a string. So test, for example, what I want to find a pattern. So for example, if I want to ignore the second character, I don't want to include it. So I need to remove that skip character. I need to remove some characters. Okay, let's say I want to remove the second character. If I remove the second one, then the fourth one, I need to remove it as well. So the second index, the 4 index, the 6 index, the 8 index, and so on and so on and so on. And that's the idea of removing character. If I want to remove the third character, that means this one, I need to remove the third character, I need to remove the 6th character, the 9th, and the 12th, and so on. Now, as you can see, I need to find a way to pass this test here. So the test is already written for you, but the idea of the exercise is I need to be able to skip some character. And this character actually, they're in pattern. What do I mean by the pattern? As I told you. So here, if I want to ignore the second character, I need to ignore the second one, the fourth one, the 6th one, the 8th one. And here, if it's the third, then I need to ignore the third, then the 6th, then the 9th, then the 12th. And if it's the fourth character, I need to ignore the fourth one, the 8th one, and the 12th one. Does that remind you with something? What method we can use to do that? Maybe the modulus, right? Yes, no? Because the modulus, for example, if I want to ignore every character inside, let's say, which will be divisible, the even one, for example, let's say 0 modulus 2. If I say 0 modulus 2, of course, it will give me 0. But after that, if I say 1 modulus 2 here, see, it will give me 1. And now if I say 2 modulus 2, it will give me 0. And then if I say 4 modulus, of course, 3 no, but if I say 4 modulus 2, it will give me 0. And I can say 6 modulus 2, it will give me 0. If I say 8 modulus 2, 8 modulus 2 is give me 0. So as you can see, I need to be able to skip all the character with 0. So the second one, the fourth one, the 6th one, and the 8th one. So modulus could be interesting for that. If I want to skip each third index, what I can do here, I can just say 0 modulus 3, for example. It will give me 0. And here I can just say with 1, for example. If it's 1 here, it will not be 0. But if I take, for example, 3 modulus 3, it will give me 0. And I can also do 6 modulus 3, it will give me 0. And here I can take 9 modulus 3, it will give me 0. So as you can see, the pattern is repeating here. So if I can use the modulus here with different, whatever I want to escape here, if it's the second one or the third one or the first one, like that, if the index is 0, I can ignore it, ignore the character. If it's not 0, I will append it, keep it. Did you understand the idea of the exercise? Yes, no? No answers. That means you did not understand it. Hello?
Yes.
Did you understand the idea, the theoretical idea, or not?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Let's say I have a string here. Blah, 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 like that. I want to skip the 5th character. So the 5th index, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 is G. 0, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I want to be able to skip the 5th one and the 10th one and the 15th ones. Well, how can I do that? Well, it's simple. if I say, if I take the number and modulus with 5, that means I need to check if there is any reminder. If I divide any number with 5, if the reminder is not 0, I will not keep it. I will not keep the character. But if it is 0, I will not add it. So for example, if I take fifth, that's the fifth character, 5 modulus 5, it will give me 0. So I don't want the fifth character. Now I want to ignore the 10th one. But if I say 10 modulus 5, how much it will give me? 10 modulus 5?
0.
0. That means I will not keep it. Now, if I try 15 modulus 5, it will give me 0. So as you can see, the pattern is repetitive here. 5, 10, 15. It gives me 0. So I will not include. I will remove this character, remove this character, remove this character, and the rest I will gonna keep them. The idea is better clear or not yet? Yes, no. What's the problem with you guys? Tell me yes or no. Hello.
For me, it's clear.
For everyone.
No idea.
Yes, it's clear.
So any string you want to do that like that, I want to remove, let's say, the second character. So the second one, but not only the second one. I want the second one, the fourth one, the sixth one, the eighth one. And here, actually, it's just, I can divide this index on the modulus I choose on 2, like that, the modulus here. Of course, anything modulus 1, it will give you 0 because there is nothing. But here, if I take modulus the second one, it will give me 0. The fourth one, it will give me 0. The sixth one, it will give me 0. The eighth one, it will give me 0. And like that, I can ignore all these characters and remove them. The rest, I can keep them. That's the idea of the exercise. But of course, now I'm going to go in detail. I'm going to explain it. We go debug it so we understand it. But that simply is the idea. The idea is just using the modulus here. So what is this test we should do? You already have the test here, and we need to be able to pass this test. So let me just remove everything here, and let's start from scratch. Let's format it and save the changes. Okay. Now, as you can see, the first test here, when I am passing an index less than 1, so they're telling you skip nothing or skip nothing when pass anything less than 1. That means if to skip here is less than 1, I need to repeat the same text. So as you can see, I passing this one 9 minus 14, it should give me exactly the same text. In order to pass this test, I need to check to skip. So I can say if to skip is less than 1, then what I'm going to do here, I need to return the same text. I will do nothing. Just I will repeat the text. Voila. Click. And that's the first one here. Let's format. Let's save changes. And now I should be able to pass the first test. If I run it like that, see, I am passing the first test here. Also the default parameter, but now for now, ignore them. So I pass the first one. Why? Because in the test, they're telling me anything less than 1, it should not skip anything. So I will check. If to skip is less than 1, then I'm going to return the text. I will do nothing. That's fine. That's good. Now here, let's go to the second one. If I'm passing 1, if I am passing 1 with any text, it should give me an empty string. Can anyone tell me why? Why, if I am passing 1 here with any text, first I need to write my code. So what do I need to do? I need to loop through my text. So let's loop through normal loop. So for, I would say let I, it's equal to 0. You already know that. As long as I is less than the text dot length, you know that. And I need to increment I plus plus. Now, what should I do? What I need to do here, as I told you, I need to be able to pass or remove some character. And this character, it will depend on to skip. So if I say, for example, if I modulus to skip, that means I'm dividing the index here of the character with the to skip. For example, here, if to skip is 2, that means I will remove the second character, the first one, the sixth one. That's what I want to. If it's 3, that means I'm going to remove the third, the 6th, the 9th, the 12th, and so on. That's what I want to. Now here, if I modulus to skip, it's equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, I don't want the character. But if it's not equal to 0, that means I want it. Because if it's equal to 0, for example, if it's 2, it will be equal to 0. If it's false, it will be equal to 0. I don't want that. I want to remove this character here. But if it's not 0, I want to keep it. So here the best way it will be to declare small variable. So I can just say let new text, for example. New text is equal to empty string. And now all I have to do, I have to append the character which are, and there, if I divide the index of this character or that to skip, it will not be equal to 0. So here I can just say text bracket I. And that's simply how it is. And now all I have to do, I just need to return a new text. Return new text. Let's format it. Let's save the changes. And now let's just test it for now. Run, everything is passed. That's good, but I did not understand it. Let's put debugger statement here. Cancel, format, save change. Okay. Now here, the first one, -4, I understand it. Why? Because if I hit run, it will now come here. So let me expand this one. So now here, the text here, it will be A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I don't care. To skip here is -14. And if the condition, as I told you, if to skip is less than 1, it will return me the same text. And that's the reason I am not passing anything. So here, the condition is true. Why? Because to skip here is -14 is less than 1. So it will return me the text. That's good. That's fine. It returns everything, as you can see. So this one, it will pass the same text here. It will pass. The first test is simple. But now with the second one, now to skip is 1. And the text here is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, whatever. And now here, according to my test, I need to receive an empty string. But why? What I am doing here, I'm dividing the index over to skip, or I'm taking the modulus. If I divide any number or modulus any number with the 1, what it will be? If I take 100, for example, 100 modulus 1, what it will give me? 0. If I take any number and I take modulus, because if I divide the number over 1, it will give me the same number. So I will not have any reminder. Anything I divide over 0, I will have no reminders. The reminder will be 0. Any number you want, 23 modulus 1, it will give me 0. Again, if I take anything else, any number modulus 1, it will give me 0. And that's the reason here I'm going to skip all these characters. So I will not receive anything. I will just receive new text. Did you understand this test? Do you understand why if it is 1, I will receive nothing, just an empty string, or not? Adil?
Not exactly.
Not exactly. Okay.
No.
Thank you. Let's go now to our stuff like that. Now, my text is some A, B, C, D. Now to skip is 1. If I click on this one, of course, to skip here is not less than 1. So this condition, it will be false. It will not do it. I'm going to through the loop here. Now, if I go through the loop, I is equal to 0. I, it's equal to 0. And to skip is 1. If 0 modulus 1, what it will be? 0 modulus 1. What it will be?
0.
0, because I'm here, I'm adding the character only if it's not 0. Because it's 0, I'm not going to add it. Let's go again. The second one, when I is 1, 1 modulus 1, how much? 0. I told you anything modulus 1, it will give me 0. Stop, cat. Stop, baby, stop. And it's give me 0, so I will gonna skip the second character as the second character because its index is 1. And now if I go here, click. Now here, 1 modulus, stop boy, 1 modulus 1, it will give me 0. And here it's not equal to, it's actually equal to 0. That means I'm not gonna take it. I'm gonna skip it. Now here is 2. 2 modulus 1, how much? 2 modulus 1, how much?
0.
0. So I'm gonna skip this character as well. 3 modulus 1, how much?
Also 0.
All of them are 0. Anything modulus with 1, it will be 0. And that's the reason here I will get nothing. It will return me an empty string. Do you understand it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks God. Now here, as you can see, with the 6, with the 7, everything, it will skip everything because simply anything modulus 1, it will give me 0. So at the end here, I'm going to return my new text. It will be just the empty string here. And that's the reason why this test here, it return an empty string. So 12, as you can see, new text here, it will be empty string. So if I hover over it, voila, it's empty string. And that's what I need to pass this test, as you can see. So let's click on it. Click. Now here, if I go to here, it's empty string. It's equal to empty string, of course. Click. As I'm passing this test this test because, as I told you, anything modulus 1, it will give me 0. So I'm not going to include any character, and I will take an empty string. Now, the third one here is a little bit interesting. Why? Because I'm passing 2. So any number or any index here, if it's the modulus 2 is equal to 0, I'm going to keep it. If it's not equal to 0, if it's 0, I'm not going to keep it. If it's equal to 0, I'm going to remove it. If it's not equal to 0, I'm going to keep it. Is the idea clear?
Yes.
Yeah, stop cat. Thank you, Gold. So now my text still A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, whatever. And to skip now is 2. So let's go here. Click. Of course, I'm not going to, this is not logic because 2 is not less than 1. So I'm going to go inside my loop directly. Okay, now here, when the index is 0, 0 modulus 2, how much? 0 modulus 2, how much? 0 modulus 2, how much?
0.
Oh, because it's 0, I will keep it or not?
No.
No, so as a condition, it must not be 0. That means the first character, I'm not gonna keep it. And as you can see, if you go to your test, see the first character here, it's not there. Okay, now the second one here, 1 modulus 2, is it 0?
No.
It's 1, that means
One.
I need it, right?
Yes.
Okay, now notice what will happen. Click, click, click. And now here, as you can see, it's 1 modulus 2. It's not equal to 0. Notice what will happen. Now it will go to the, see? And now here it will append this character, which is B. Click. And now, as you can see here, the new text, now it's B. And that's actually what I want to, if you see, B here. And now we will go to the third one here. So let's go again, click. Now I is 2 actually. 2 modulus 2, how much?
0.
I will keep it or I will not keep it?
No.
It's simple now. I will not keep it. So well, now I need 3. 3 modulus 2, is it 0 or not?
No, it's 1.
Yes, if I say 3 modulus 2, it give me 1. So I will keep this character. So what's the character here? Now we'll see. Notice what will happen. So what is my character here? It's D. So I'm going to keep the D. Click. And now I have BD. And I will look at my test. BD, it's correct actually. Let's go again. Click. Now I have 4. 4 modulus 2. 4 modulus 2 is 0. I will keep it or not?
No.
No. Now let's go here to the fifth one. So when it is 5, okay, 5 modulus 2, how much?
1.
Yes, so I need it, right?
Yes.
So I will append it. So let's see now what will happen. Voila, I'm going to append it. What is the character? I don't want 5. I want the character. The character is F. And if I see BDF, it's keeping F, which is good for me. Voila, and now I have BDF, as you can see. Let's go to again. Now I have the 6th one. 6 modulus 2.
0.
0. I will not keep it. I don't want it. Okay, now 7. 7 modulus 2. It's not 0. That's what I care about. It's not 0. 7 modulus 2, it's 1. It's not 0. That's great. That means I'm going to keep it. So I will keep, and as you can see, I keep it. But what is the character with the index 7? It's H. And now here, I will add H here, as you can see. Click, and voila. Is the idea now clear or not?
Yes.
Is the exercise now? Of course, it's the same with 3, 4, 6, same idea exactly. So what I need to do, I will take the index, then I will see if the modulus with whatever I want with 2 or 3 or 4, it doesn't matter. If it's 0, I don't want this character. If it's not 0, I'm going to append it and I'm going to return it. It should be simple now, right?
Yes.
For everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I hope it's clear. You can debug it all the time. Just put inside your function a debugger and you can go line by line through each test. But that's simply the idea here. And how could I write this function? Well, from this test. So you need to write your test here, read them, and after that, give you some hint here. If it's less than 1, then I want to repeat the same. That's the reason why I'm using that. But here I notice a pattern. Now with 1, it's keeping everything. It's normal because anything modulus 1, it will give me 0. And here I should not keep it. So any index modulus 1, it always be 0. That means I should not keep anything. And that's the reason here. With 2, I'm noticing I'm keeping few character here, B. Why? Because here the index is 0. 0 is modulus 2, it's 0. I will not keep it. Here 1 modulus 2, it's not 0, so I'm going to keep it. The index 2 here, 2 modulus 2 is 0, so I'm not going to keep it. Here the index is 3. 3 modulus 2, it's not 0, so I'm going to keep it, and so on, and so on, and so on. Same idea here. Should be simple now. Now for the default parameter, I'm passing here only hello. I'm not passing to skip. Okay, that's fine. Now, here, as you can see, if I'm passing the text, I'm not passing to skip. What would be the value of to skip? If I'm passing the text, but I'm not passing to skip. So as you can see here, I am passing only 1 parameter, not 2. I should pass 2. What will be the default value of to skip?
0.
0. You don't need to think about it. And if 0 is less than 1, it will return me the same text, right? Because here my condition, if to skip is less than 1, I want to return the same text. And that's the reason why if I pass only hello, it will return me hello. Why? Because simply I'm not passing any to skip, so it will be 0, 0 less than 1, so it will return me the same text. What if I pass nothing? Well, if I pass nothing, the value of the text here, it will be an empty string. To skip, it will be 0, and because to skip is 0, 0 is less than 1, it will return me an empty string, and voila, that's it. I think the idea should be 100% clear now, if I'm not mistaken. Yes?
Yes.
Perfect. Any other exercise you want me to review with you? Any exercise you want me to review with you? Any exercise you want me to review with you? Okay, fine. That means you have nothing. I think, Rachel, you told me yesterday about some edge case. It was in which one, Rachel? Rachel? Rachel, are you there, Rachel? Thank you, Rachel.
Yes, Samir, I'm here.
Which number
Yes,
it was
sir.
for?
It was a primitive operator and
Which number?
under arithmetic.
But yeah.
Number 1.
Number 1, okay. And then exercise, it was not this one. It was example. No, it was
Yes,
not.
it's is example of arithmetic.
Yes, but number 1, where's the arithmetic? I don't see it.
I
Number
will
1, right?
Yes, number 1, primitive.
Then here, which one? Which number?
Wait, I will find.
Just check it, please.
Okay.
Samir,
Yes.
go to 3 common operators.
Yes. Arithmetic.
Yeah,
Exercise.
examples.
Yes,
Example.
arithmetic.
Examples. And here, edge cases. Voila. Now, what the hell is edge cases? Edge cases, that means they are just like, for example, in your own language, or when you are learning French or Dutch or any language, as I told you, all your teacher or sometimes is telling you, you don't understand why it's happening. If you say, for example, why I am using this one here, it will tell you, well, it's because it's like that. That's an exception. In JavaScript, also, we have some exceptions. Some of them does not make sense, but they are like that in JavaScript. So there are a few special cases to be aware of in JavaScript arithmetic. You will never need to use this on purpose, so you will not use them really. But sometimes you may get them when you have a bug or something like that. So in normal programming, you shouldn't have these cases. But in case you have a bug or something like that, you may have them and you need to be aware of them. The first one here, when you use anything with none, it will be none. What do I mean by that? So if I multiply, let's say I say 1 plus none, and all the time you can test them in your console, it's return me none. If I say 1 minus none, which is not a number, it will give me none. If I say 1 divided or multiplied by none, it will give me none, which is not a number. If I divide anything with none, it will give me none, as you can see. So any arithmetic operation with none here, not a number, it will give you the same, which is not a number. Is the idea clear? Yes, no?
Yes.
Good. The second one here, it's a bit strangey. So if I have a text like that, and I multiply it with any number 2, it give me none. Now, in other programming languages, they don't do that. For example, Python, if I do the same, it will multiply string. It will make the same string. It will repeat the string 2 times. But in JavaScript came here, it tried to convert it to a number. It cannot. So it converted to none, not a number. And as we see, not a number, any operation with not a number, it will give me not a number. Is the idea clear what's happening here? So first, JavaScript take this text, try to convert it to a number. When it tried to, it's not a number. It cannot be a number. So JavaScript converted to none. And none here, not a number. Anything with none, as we've seen, it will give me none. Is the idea clear?
Yes.
Yes. Let's take undefined and to try to do undefined plus any number you want to. 12. It give me none. And here, any operation with undefined as well, it should give you none, which is not a number. Because JavaScript, it will try to convert this one to a number because it's undefined, it will give you not a number, and any operation with none, it will give you none. I think this one should be clear if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Good. Now here, a small note about not a number. Not a number is really strange in JavaScript. Why? Because not a number is not equal to anything, even itself. So if I say strictly equal to none like that, it gives me false. It's very strange, I know. But in JavaScript, none, it's not equal to anything, even itself. Okay, but what sometimes we need to compare none to see if it's equal to none or not. In this case, you can use another method, let's say, which is called it object.ease. Object.ease. And object.ease here, you can pass 2 values. So I can pass none, not a number here, and not a number here, it will give me true. So object.ease and strict equality, they are very, very similar, except 2 cases only. There are the 2 cases here, they are different, which is if I compare none with strict equal with none, it will give me false with strict equality. But with object.ease, it will give me true. The second difference between them is if I say minus 0, strictly equal to 0, here with strict equality, it will give me true. Boy. Okay. But
Siri here. Let me know if I can't help.
thank you. Anyway, if I try to do it with object.ease, and that's the second different. So object.ease. And here, if I try to pass minus 0, comma 0, unfortunately, here it will give me false. Voila. So that's the 2 different between the strict equality and object.ease. Other than that, they are the same. This one being added after like a new syntax for JavaScript, only for none here, for this special cases none. Because it's in JavaScript here with strict equality, we cannot compare none with none. That's the reason why this one is being added to JavaScript. Is the idea clear? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Good. Thanks God. If I try to divide 0 by 0, now in math, it should give me 0. But actually in JavaScript, it give me none. Okay, what's the logic behind it? As I told you, there are just special cases. Normally, you shouldn't use that. Normally in Python, if you try to divide something by 0, it will give you an error, which is you will try to divide by 0. So some programming languages throw you an error. You cannot divide something by 0. But in JavaScript, it will not throw an error. It just will give you not a number. Simply like that. Is the idea clear?
Yes.
Good. If I try to divide false with null, it's the same idea because JavaScript will convert this one to 0. If I try to convert this one here to a number, false, it will be 0, and null also it will be 0. You may tell me, how do you know that? Well, let's try number here, and let's try to convert false. Of course, if you convert false, it will give you false. If you convert false, it will give you 0. And if you convert null, it will also give you 0. And voila. So it returns to the same case, which is 0 divided by 0. This one's the same idea. JavaScript convert this one to 0. Now it's 0 stringy. It will make a 0 number. 0 by divide by 0. It will give me none. Same idea here. And I think now this case should be clear as well. Yes? No?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Now here, if I try now to divide 3 divide by 0, it give me infinity here. So when I divide 0 by 0, it give me none. But when I divide any other number non-zero over 0, it will give me infinity. And here we have plus infinity and minus infinity. If the number here is integer positive number, it will give me infinity. If it's negative or minus, it will give me minus infinity. So if I say minus 12 divided by 0, it will give me minus infinity. Simply like that. Is the idea clear? Yes? No?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course, let's try 9 divided by 0 and should give me 9 because I told you any operation with 9, it will give you none. But if I try to divide 0 by 0, it will give me none. But any other number, it will give you infinity. But it depends on the number. If it's positive or negative, it will be minus infinity or plus infinity. Again, those are edge cases. You should not really have them unless you have a bug. If I try to divide 0 over 12, here it gives me 0 because I'm not dividing by 0. I'm dividing 0 over 12. And here, if I try to divide 0 by 2, what do you think the result will be? 0 divided by 1. It give me again 0. If you divide 0 by anything not not 0, it should give you 0. But if I try 0 with 0, of course, it will give me none. Now let's try 0 divided by infinity. Infinity. Ah, shit. Sorry. Infinity. And here is give me 0. Same 0 divided by none. It give me none. So any operation with none, it will give you none. But if I divided the 0, notice here we are not dividing by 0. So 0 is not, if you divide anything with 0 here, it will give you an infinity, except with none, of course. But if you are trying to say 0 divided by any number, it will give you 0, except with none. With none, it will give you none. Because I told you any operation with none, it will give you none. Let's try to divide 100 by infinity and see what it will give us. Infinity again will give us 0. And most of the time here, all of those, it will give me zeros, except the none, it will give me none. And that's it. Let's try to divide infinity by infinity. Divided by infinity. Yes, that's what I want to. Actually, infinity by infinity is give me none. None by infinity is give me none. And here it shouldn't give me none. So let's see this one. Here it shouldn't give me none. Should give me 0. Actually, it give me 0. And here, so everything it will give you 0 if you are dividing by infinity or any number except with none. Yeah, those are special cases, as I told you. You will not encounter any these special cases unless sometime if you have a bug. And when you have a bug, all you have to do, you can just take your result. If you are not sure, you don't need to remember them. Just open your console and try to see what the result it will give you. Is the idea clear? Should be clear.
Yes.
Yes, it's clear.
Very good. I've explained this one as well. I don't think you have any other question. So let's go and build the project, which will be the counter together. Now the objective why I'm building with you. So first you see how I code, or how you normally should code. And after that, I will give you a new task for Thursday, which it's actually even simpler than this one. So let's go to test here. I will just open this one. And it will be good for you. Actually, let me delete everything. Start from 0. Yeah, click. Delete. So how can we build a project? Well, first I'm going to create something called SRC. SRC here, it will be for your JavaScript. I will create a new folder again, and this folder, it will be styles. Some people name it CSS. It's okay to name it style, and as you can see, your VS Code, it will give them a different icon. That's really nice. I'll need index.html, so index.html. And here, if I want to test some of my function, I will actually need an npm because I will need to use jest as we learned. So let me create my create a package.json. So all I have to do, I just need to say npm. What is the code or the script? Npm init minus y. So click and voila. So I've created my package.json. As you can see here, I'm gonna remove it and I'm gonna type just as you know, jest. And I need to add the flag -- coverage because I want to see something really nice. You already know that. So let's save it here. Trailing comma. Yes, I don't need this comma. That's fine. I created my package.json. I have my style. I have my source. I have my index.html, which should not be a file, actually. Should not be a folder. It should be file. So index.html. Voila. So I will create first a skeleton for my HTML. All I have to do, just a question mark, click. And here, what is the name of my project? The name of my project, it will be counter. So I'll name it counter. That's nice. After that here, what should I do? First, I need to link my script. So I will say script. And the type need to be module because I need to divide my, if I have any util function. So I will go to source and I don't have anything, but I need to create it. So I will name it init.js. Don't name it main, just name it init.js. There is a reason for that, but you will learn it later in separation of concern. So now I can go to my source and I create a file called init.js like that. Well, that should be good. Of course, in my style, I need to create style.css. So let's create it, style.css. That's good. Let's go here. Let's connect my style as well. So all I have to do, I just need to say style here. And actually, I need to say just link. And link here, as you can see, it's giving me a lot of meta tag. I want to link my CSS. If I click on it, it will just complete it for me. It's easy. So now
Samir,
yes.
on line 10, the source, it should be init and you wrote int.
The source should be what?
Source init.
You are right. It's init.
Typo.
I'm making a mistake. You are right. Init, it's typo. Now it's good. Thank you. Thank you, Mishka. So as you can see, I've linked my JavaScript. That's very good. To test if my JavaScript is being linked correctly, I'm going to log something. Because just log this in init.js to see if it's working or not. Click. Let's open my stuff here. And as you can see, I have init.js, so my JavaScript is being linked correctly. I'm going to go also to my style to make sure it's being linked correctly. So I'm going to select the body and I will give it a background color, which will be black. It's good for my eyes and also to make sure that my style is working correctly. Voila, my style is working correctly. Perfect. Now, what should I do? I need now to think about my project. Well, I'm going to open my Excalibur. So the most important thing to do in any project is first the planning part. You need to know how to plan for your project. Not just open your VS Code and try to code. That's not going to work. And even if it works, it will not be good coding. So what do I want to do? First, I need to show a number here. So maybe I can make something here, a div or something, and I can put a number here. So here I will put number. By default, it will be 0 like that. And here I need few buttons here. So I need 3 buttons. That's button number 1. If I type Command D, it will duplicate it for me. So I will create 3 buttons. Voila, and voila, and voila. Here, what I want in my button 1 here, I need plus, for example, or here maybe it will be plus, it will be better. Here it will be minus. Here it will be reset. Now, it's a good idea now to give me an idea now how to do my project. Remember something. Now, if to style my button nicely, I can group all my button inside one div. Like that, I can style them nicely. So I need to create a div and I put all my button inside this div, just for styling purpose. And here, this guy should be separated. I also can create either paragraph, but a div, it will give me more. I can style it like whatever I want to. So I will create one div here and one div here. This div here, I can just add any number or 0 by default. These numbers or these buttons here, I will add 3 buttons. Now, the question I need to ask myself, do I need to add extra button or I will have only these buttons? So my question, do I need only those or I will need to have extra buttons?
Only this.
Only this. So because I need only this, I can hard code them in my HTML. But if I need like the 100 button, it's not a good idea to add them to my HTML because it's a bad idea to add 100 button to my HTML. All the time you need to think, as if the element is static, that means it will not gonna change. I'm not gonna add something or remove something. For example, if it's an image or if it's movie, I cannot add 1,000 movie here. It's bad idea to add it to my HTML because I will have a lot of movies. So better idea to create them in my JavaScript. But here I will have only this button. I'm not gonna change anything. So now let's just go to my body here. So what I can do, I can just create a div or I can create a main tag. So main here to post everything here. And here I can create, for example, a div or even H1, by the way. So I can create a div. It's totally up to you. And the div here, I can give it value 0. And I can create another div here. And this div here, it will include all my buttons. Here, I will give it a class or ID, whatever you want to. I need to name it counter. And here, I will give it a class or ID if I want to. And I will name it buttons. Buttons. Why? Because it will be more than one button. Buttons like that. That's nice. That's not bad. I can give them an ID also if I want to, by the way. I can make those an ID because they will be unique like that. But for me, I know my project, I will not be repeated because my project is small. Now here I need to create 3 buttons. So I will just type button like that. What type of button I want? Well, I want them to be buttons. So I'm going to click on here. The first one here, it should be on the left. It should be minus. And here I type is button. That's okay. And all I need to do now, I need to give it an ID. Or a class if I want to. It doesn't matter. I will give it an ID and the ID, let's say increment. Increment like that. And now we need to replicate this one 3 times. Voila. Here it will be a reset because it will be in the middle. And here it will be decrement. Decrement. That's increment. That will be on the left. It shouldn't be increment. Actually, it should be decrement. That should be decrement. That one should be increment. It doesn't matter really. It's really where do you want them. Now here, if I go to my HTML, click it. As you can see, I have my button, but all of them is minus, which is bad. So I want the minus first. Here I want reset. And here I want the plus, which is increment. Voila. Click it. That's what I want to. I want the plus here, the minus here, the reset here. And of course, it doesn't show me the 0 here. I need to add some style to show the 0. I think now I have enough classes or ID for everything. I don't want to add anything to my HTML. So now I need to add a little bit CSS, and after that, I need to add some functionality. So let me open my CSS here. Click it. We create the body here. We give it background color like that. So the color must be something whitey. So I will take white smoke. If I take white smoke, as you can see now, I see everything. Let's try to center this guy in the middle. So I will take the main here, the main tag. And the main tag here, I would say, for example, yeah, display flex. I wanted to display flex. And here I want to display them horizontally. So flex direction should be column, align item, I'll make it center, justify content center. And maybe I can give it height 100 and width also 100 if I want to. Like that, it will take the whole screen. As you can see now in the middle, which is that's why I want to. Because I want to take it everything. I don't want to add anything more. After that, maybe I can take my counter. Dot counter because it's a class. So here, maybe I can give it a little bit more font size. So font size here, I can make it big, really big. So let's try with 2.5 rem and see how much it will be. It's still not what I want to, so I can inspect it. And here I can go to my CSS, just expand it. Come on. Yes. Here, let's go to the style here, Torim. I will double click on it. I'll try to increase it a little bit. I like it 11.5 frame. And voila, that's the font size. Other than that, I don't want anything else. If I go to for the buttons here, I'm gonna display them flex as well. Display flex. And here the flex direction, it need to be row, not column. By default, it will be so the default display for the flex, it will be row. Justify content center, align item. Here I can say align item space between, for example, space between. And here it will give me, yeah, but here I need to do something for the button, the single button. So I can just take the button now, buttons, and then here I have inside it a button like that. And I can give it some styling here. If I want to display it as a block element, what should I do? Display, inline, block, right?
Yes.
Not some other code like that, whatever, rem stuff like that, and I can give it a margin, whatever I want to. And now here, as you can see, there's a little bit space, which I want to. Now, of course, you can play with it and do whatever you want here. I'm not going to concentrate on the styling. I'm going to close this one. I'm going to close this one. And now I'm going to open my JavaScript first. So I'll put my JavaScript here and my HTML here. So the first step here, when you build any project, first you need to define your data. So I will make a comment and I need to say what data. I need to think here. If I go back to my project here, what data do I need? What data do I need? What do I need to change? So what will be changed in my project? Whatever change in my project, the state or the data, it will be this number, right? It will be the counter, right?
Yes.
Do I have anything else from data to change? No, only this guy. I'm interested on this guy only. When I click on anything, I'm interested in this guy. So my data here, it will be only the value of the counter, right? So what I'm going to do, and always take it like a habit, just name it const data. It's equal to an object. So your data all the time need to be inside an object. And here I will name it counter or value or whatever you want to. And here is the default value, it will be 0. Why? Because I want the default value to be 0. If I want the default value to be 10, I will add it 10. And here I will ask you this question, why my data always need to be an object? Why? There is 2 reasons for that. And you need to tell me why. Yes. Come on, guys, I explained it yesterday. Why do my data need to be an object? It's not that difficult. Adil, why my data need to be an object all the time? Agnieszka, Ahlam, Daria, Dinyando.
So it's easier to cope with, and it's better not to have too many global variables.
Yes, so I can put all my, like that, I'm encapsulating, that's what you call the encapsulation. I'm putting all my data inside one object. Like that, I don't have too much global variable. It will be better for my code, that's first. Second, now because I have an object now, let's say in my program now, I need to add more data. It will be simple now. I can just add, for example, to-dos, for example, and I can make it an empty array. Now, what if I want to add more data? I can add, it's very simple. Local, as you can see in object, if in the future I need to add more data, it will be very simple to add more data. That's first. Second, I want whenever the user click on this button, I want this value to change. And when it change, I want to see it on my website, right? So whenever I click on this one, I want the value to change here as well, right? So it's kind of side effect, if you remember. So if I click on this one, when I change in my function what I created, if I change in my function, I want to change here. And as we study side effect, it exists on reference type. That means if in my function, if I change the value of this counter, it will be changed everywhere because there is a side effect, and that's what I want to. So all the time, try to make your data an object. It's better. Even if it's single value here, it's always better to put it inside an object. Is the idea clear? Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Now, the second here, I need to define my DOM element. What element do I need to select here in my website? Well, first I need to select this guy because I need to update it. I need to select all three buttons because when I click on them, I need to add an event. Event either when I click on this one, I want to increase this one here. I want to change it to 0 here. I want to make it -1. So I need to select all these 4 elements. As I told you, also my DOM element, to not make them scattered, I need to group them in one variable. So I just can say const DOM, and here that's my object. And here I need to just say for first, I can name it counter if I want to, or value, whatever I want to. Here I can just say document dot query selector. Why I'm using query selector? Why I am using query selector here? Why I am using query selector?
Because we don't have ID.
Yes, I don't have an ID. If I have an ID and I don't want to give it an ID, that's why I'm using query selector. And now here I need to select all 3 buttons. That's what I want to. So I will just say here, I will name it increment. Query selector. Do I have an ID? Yes. So I will use query get element by ID. Get element by ID, and the ID should be increment. I'm gonna copy it to make sure I did not make any typo. Here decrement, same idea, and here reset, same idea.
Samir,
Have an idea, I'm gonna use them. Reset, everything should be fine. Increment, I just need to make sure increment is correct.
yeah, Samir.
Yes, Dinyado.
But when you use get element by ID, you don't need to put dot.
You are right. My mistake. Sorry for that. You are absolutely right.
And also, Samir, you have increment, and after that, in the brackets, there is decrement. So you switch it.
Increment, decrement, you are absolutely right as well. So increment, they are replaced. So increment here, it should be in the increment. That's increment here, it should be increment, and decrement should be a decrement. Thank you. Voila. And now, as you can see, all my DOM element is being inside one object. My code is clean. I have one global variable to be an object, and voila. And that's all the time you should do that. You should group your data inside one object. You should group your DOM element, any element you want to select inside one object. And later on, when you study separation of concern, each one of those, it will be in separate folder. But for now, it's fine. So I have my data, I have my DOM. That's perfect. Now, what should I do? Well, I need to add my event listener, right? I need to add event to this button, to this button, and to this button, right? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
So here I can say events. So what event should I add? Well, I will take first my increment. Let's say increment. So I can just say increment. But how can I select my increment? Where is my increment button now? Where is my increment button?
In DOM.
Exactly. So I need to say DOM dot increment dot add event listener. And here's the event here. As you know, event listener take 2 parameter click, and I take a function. And here I can write my function directly, or I can pass the name of the function. And here I will just name them handler. That's what you call them. The name of those functions. So whenever you have an event, click or anything, and the function here would be executed, we call it handlers. So here I can create my function. I can create it directly here, but it will be better to do that. So I can just say const increment, what should I name it? Increment handler, increment handler. It's handlers, that means it's just a function. I can just do this way like that, and that should be good. But increment is not correct. I need to correct it. Voila. So what I did here, I separate my function. I can put add it here directly here. But of course, I didn't do that. I just put, now I pass the name of my function here. I just pass the name of my function. So that's what I'm saying here. I'm telling JavaScript, okay, if the user click on this button, that's the function here. That's the name of the function I want you to execute. Now, remember something very important. I cannot call the function here, because if I call the function, it will be executed immediately when the page is loaded. That's not what I want to. I want this function to be executed. Let me show you what do I mean. So if I log here increment handler and I call the function here, notice what will happen. So if I go to my console and I refresh, notice my function is being executed immediately. That's not what I want to. What I want to, when I click on this button, I want my function to be executed. So you will never, ever, ever execute the function. You need here just to pass a reference to the function. Reference, that means the name of the function. So I will pass only the name of the function, and that's my function here. Is the idea, this is very important. So you will never execute a function like that. No, because if you execute it as like that, if I go, it's already been executed, and that's not what I want to. What I want this function to be executed when a user click on this button. So if I go now, I click on this button, now it's being executed. That's what I want. Is it quite clear
Yes.
for everyone? Okay, now let's duplicate our buttons then. Now I need to add the second event. So I can just say dom.reset, add event listener, click. I will not write my function here. I will pass a reference to my function here, and I will can name it reset handler. Reset handler, voila. And I just need to create this function. So I can just say const reset handler, voila. And that should be good. And to make sure it's working, I can log something. And now I need to add my third event. So it will be dom.decrement, add event listener. I don't want to pass the function directly here. I will separate it. No, that's not what I want to. I want just to close it. Yeah. And here's the name of the function. It will be decrement handler like that. Decrement is not correct. Decrement without S should be okay. Decrement, and now I need to create the decrement here. Const decrement handler, and voila, let's log it. Everything's okay. So as you can see, I am separating my event here. I can write the function directly here, but I don't want you to get used to this bad habit. I want you all the time to separate your code. Like that, I have my data, as you can see, separated. I have my DOM element separated. That's this function, we call them handler. Why? Because they handle the event. What's the event? When the user click on it, it handle it. That's what we call them handler. So I have my handler on, and I have my events. Events here is that all of them are clicked. Let's make sure that my function here, when I click on this button, it's being executed correctly. So let's go here. And if I click on reset, voila, reset handler, it's working. If I click on increment handler, that's good. If I click on this one, decrement handler, everything is working perfectly. And as you can see, my code is very clean. My events are only 3 lines. My handler 3 small functions. And my DOM element and my data are included in simply in an object. Now, what do I want to do when the user click on increment? Well, I need to take this counter here, the value, and I need to change the value. So I can just say dom.counter, right? Remember, dom.counter here, it's a div, right? So because it's a DOM element, I can just say inner text or inner HTML, but I will take inner text. Inner text, it will be equal to, I can just say, for example, I'm not gonna complicate it, so let me just say data dot counter +1. I can do that if I want to, or I can do something different. First, I need to increment my stuff here, so I can just say data. First, I need to increment my data dot counter +1. So the first step, I need to change my data. So I will say data.counter +1, and then I will say dom.counter.inner text, it's equal to data.counter. Should be simple, right? For the second one, when I need to reset, what should I do? First, I need to change my data. How can I change my data? Well, I can just say data.counter, and here it need to be 0. So I will say equal to 0, and then now I need to update the DOM. How can I update the DOM? Well, I need to say dom.counter.inner text or inner HTML. It's equal now to data.counter. Now I need to decrement. Same idea. I need to first to update my data. So I need to say data.counter -1. So as you can see here, -1, and here I need to update my counter here, dom.counter.inner text is equal to 0. And if I go back to my stuff here, I refresh. Now, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Decrement, cool, and reset, voila, 0. And it's working perfectly without any problems, as you can see. I don't have any bugs. Everything is good. Reset. That's how we really code using, I know maybe separation of concern a little bit hard for you to understand, but when we get to separation of concerns, that's the concept we are doing. So I want you to get used to this concept. Question.
I have a question.
Mhm.
On the line 16. Is it possible, because it's object, so is it possible to do data.counter ++ or not?
It is possible, of course.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I can do that ++ if I want to, yes. But here,
Oh.
one, it will be more clear. Yes, I can. What else? Other question. Other question. Remember again, when I separate, I can directly write my function here. I told you that's not a good practice. If I decided to separate my handler, I will not execute the function here. I will just pass the name of the functions. That's it. And here we call them handler. Why? Because they handle the event. Here the event is click. So when I click on this button, something will handle this event. That's the reason why you call them handler. So those function here, we call them handler function. Okay, that's my data, and that's my DOM. And that's my events here. Or we call them listener, by the way. We call them event or listener. Can anyone tell me why do we call it listeners? Can anyone tell me why do we call them listeners? It's not
Because
hard.
we will listen what the user will do.
Exactly, because they are listening to the event, whatever the user is going to do. It's just like, imagine it like human. When someone is talking, your ears is listening to whatever you're doing. You can imagine the event as your ears. And after they take this sound, they take it to your brain, and your brain try to process this sound. And the brain here, it will be the handler. So here, your ears are listening to the events. That's why we call them listener. And after they receive these events, something will happen. These whatever sound, whatever stuff here, it will go to your brain. And here it will go to your handler. That's why we name it handler. So the handler, just like your brain. And the listener, just like your ears. So that's the reason why we call them listeners. That's what the reason we call them handlers. So whenever you write your code, I want to be divided this way. You have your data, a comment, DOM, all the DOM element you need. If you don't need any DOM element, you don't need to put them. Only the DOM element you need. Here, handler is the function. It will be executed when the user do some event. And here, that's your event, as you can see. Most of the time, we deal with click. Double click or hover or change or something like that. Should be clear if I'm not mistaken, 100%. Yeah?
I have a question.
Yes.
Because we have handlers, so there are two functions and they are similar. Can we create one function that will handle all of them in one, like only with changing the parameters?
You can, but that's a bad idea.
Okay.
Agnieszka, and for all of you, the good function, okay? I mean, this advice is not from me. It's from the father it's a guy, really advanced guy, which is whatever, who created programming. It says a good function is a function is doing only one job. You get my point. So your function, a good function normally do one job. Why? Because now if I have one function dealing with everything, tomorrow if I want to refactor my code or I want to modify it, I will have a problem here. Because this I need to change everything. But now each function is doing one job. Now if I want now come to modify this increment, let's say I don't want it by 1, I want it by 2, for example. Well, I will change only one function in one place. So I don't have to refactor those. If I want to modify the decrement, I will only change it in one place because I have one function doing one job. Is the idea clear?
Mhm.
Yes.
It
But
is
if we have another button like +2, +3, +4, like lots of buttons, so we'll have as much as the buttons we have, we will have the same amount of handlers.
no. In this example, I can pass whatever you want to as a parameter here. So what I can, for example, let's say increment by 3, for example. So what I need to do now, I need to pass here 3, for example, or I will name it, for example, increment by, or I can, should I name it here? Num, for example. And here, instead of increment by 1, I can say it num. You get the point? Still, I'm doing the same. Here, it will always be 0. Here, I need to pass num. And here, I will increment or decrement by num. Now we have a problem. So we have a problem. Can anyone tell me what's the problem? So here, as you can see, I told you I cannot call my function this way.
Yeah.
Here, I need to pass the number. And here, as the same idea, I need to pass a parameter, but I cannot do this way. Because if I do it this way, as you can see, my function, it will be executed immediately, and that's not what I want to. So if I go here and I log something, let's actually go here, log something, log increment, and even for this one here, if I log something, console.log, not this one, log decrement. I have a problem now. As you can see, both of them is being executed even when the user did not click. When I did not click on anything, I have a problem here. I cannot pass my parameters this way. What should I do? What will be the solution? Well, I need someone smart. So you need to be a little bit smart actually to answer this question. No, you don't have to answer the question. Even if you know, I don't want you to answer the question. I'll keep it as the last. So here I need to pass a parameter, but I cannot pass my parameter this way, because if I pass it this way, as you can see, the function is being executed immediately. So I need to find another solution. What could be the solution? It's simple. Daria? Now this one is okay, it has no parameter, but now I have a parameter here. What should I do? What do you think, Daria? Daria is silent. Adil? Ahlam? Umra? Goldkin? Namarta? Ramia? Rachel? Rodika? Rahma? Samuel? Somia? Yana? Dinyando? Agnieszka? Are you there, or what's happening?
Yeah, it's the first time when we see this kind of problem, so we have no idea.
Oh, it's simple. So what I can do, I can cut my function and I can create an arrow function. Notice. And now here, I can put my function here. So what will happen here, this function, the arrow function here, it will not be executed unless the user click on this button. And when it click on this button, of course, this function, it will be executed and it will call my function here. So let's go and test it. Clicky. Now, if decrement is still working, of course. Now here, increment, click, click, click. Now it's working. That's what I want to. To fix the decrement also, I need to cut this one. And I will pass a function. And now this function here, notice, here I am not passing a reference to the function. I'm executing my function, but this function, so it's function inside a function. This function here, the arrow function, anonymous function, it will not be executed unless the user click on this button. And when the user click on this button, this function here, the arrow function, it will be executed, and then it will call my function, as you can see. And now, if I go here and I refresh and click, 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 voila, click, 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 and everything is working perfectly, and voila. Clear? Or is it difficult? So, and whenever your handler expecting some parameter, you cannot just pass the name of the function and X pass the parameter. It will not work. It will execute your function immediately. So to solve this problem, you can create an arrow function, and inside the arrow function, you can now call your function with the parameter you want. And here, this function, the outer function, it will not be executed if the user did not click on this button or do something. And when the user do something, this function, it will be executed and it will call your function, as you can see. Voila. Is the problem solved? Yes, no?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So,
Yeah.
but we need to like create 3 handlers because we cannot have one from plus and minus. So if we add the parameter num with the no, it will not work.
So you mean
So the minimum of the handlers it's 3 for this case, even if we have more buttons, more, +2, +4, and
Yes.
+5, and so on.
So I always will have 3 buttons. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
So here you can ask the user, for example, here you can ask the user how much you want me to increment and then give the value. And after that, you can increment by the number you want. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And Samir,
Yes,
can,
Daniel.
can we write all the handlers in the object?
Can we write all the handler? Of course we can. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Okay.
now here, even in your function, your handler, we will learn it a little bit on in the future. But for now, just keep it this way. Indeed. So if I want to encapsulate all my handler, I can put them inside one object. And like that, I will have even less global variable. And I also can put all my listener inside one object, but don't worry about that. For now, keep it this way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Again, it's not about writing code. Some people think, okay, I write the code, it's working, that's good. No, it's about how clean your code is. And when your code is clean, it should be readable just like a story here. I know it's new for you, but now if you read it, this is my data. Okay, that's my DOM here. This is my handler. Okay, this one here, as you can see, it will increment, but I need to pass a value here. Okay, that's good. Here, I don't need to pass anything, so I just pass the name of my function. Here, I need to pass something as a parameter to my handler, so I need to put it inside a function. Because if I pass it like that, just here like that, and I execute my function, it will be executed immediately. And like that, as you can see, my code is not ugly. Everything is commented. I have very small comment, readable comment. And I'm going to share the code with you. I think it's clear if I am not mistaken. Voila. Perfect. You have no question, of course. I've already shared the code with you. So it will be just like a reference for you, as I told you. And the structure all the time, you need to have source init.js for now. After that, we have more files. And here style, you can name it style or CSS, it doesn't matter. Index.html, package.json. You need package.json if I have util function. If I have in here in SRC, I need to create a folder called utils. Because if I have any util or logical function, I need to put them here. But for my code here, I don't need any util function. I mean, my code is very small. I don't have any util function. So yeah. If I have any util function, I need to install jest to do my testing. If I don't, so I need to say npm i minus djest. But don't worry, when you do the project, I will share with you a template and you can just do npm install. Everything will be ready for you. Yes, and I have my jest here. Everything's fine. Okay. No question I am expecting. It should be clear. That will be your project. And your project here, it will be simple for Thursday. So all you have to do, when you click on a button, so it will give you a random color here. It's hexacode, as you can see. So I will have a hash, and I will have a number between 0 to 9 and A to F, because that's a hexacode. So whenever I click on the button, click, it will give me random color, and this random color here, it will be implemented on the body. And that's the project. It will be quite simple. But you don't have to do it today or tomorrow. We can do it on Thursday together. And of course, after you finish here, we will do the project together, all of us. So I will give you the chance to do it like Thursday, and after that, we can do it together. And on Friday, if you finish, I will give you another project. The more project you do, it's the better it is. I'm going to stop the recording.